This is called a serration at the end here. It's not a spline actually, it's called a serration. It's probably one of the most brilliant things you've ever come across, because when the actual UJ system actually clamps onto it, it is absolutely unbelievable. We've had tests done on it to try and strip make it slip and so forth, and all we've ended up doing is just completely destroying UJs. So it's a phenomenal bit of kit, but it doesn't take, like Ian talked about earlier, people chiseling off to get them through. It's just not a practice you should be doing. We do see a lot of this where they don't line up the actual bolt to go through. I don't know, perhaps some of the fitting of these are a little bit in difficult places, but there's no real excuse for doing that and just hitting it with an hammer and hoping. Very little is said about steering UJs and so forth, but sometimes, because they don't work on a particular plane all the time, they do get a little bit, stiff, or they can get stuck. And if you've got a grease nipple in there, it's a good idea to put some grease in it. If you're looking at the rest of the vehicle, the maintenance of the kingpins and the grease you would apply to them if they're not sealed, and good ball joints in between, and good things like this will, give a longer service life on your actual steering, because it's not working to, over capacity all the time, trying to, shift the Chinese wall or whatever. So there are things that can help, and it's a combination of stuff. And what we've got as direct parts with the skills across us are, engineers that understand materials. There are engineers that understand the fitments. There are engineers that, just excel in the world of power steering and other products to do with hydraulics as well on vehicles. Ian's one of them. Talking about this item here, which is a stub off a vehicle that runs in the bus industry, that was done on a very short run. It makes this item here quite rare, and at this present moment very difficult to get hold of. The other side was it with the chisel as well, so you ended up with a situation where both the stubs have been seriously damaged, and you can see the effects of what they've done here. They've had heat on it, torches, they've had grinders on it, they've done all sorts of bits and pieces on here to get the job done. Personally speaking, I can't understand it, and I'm sure anybody...
I'm sure you have to just cut across your right there, but I mean, quite simply, the hub's got stuck on.
Yeah.
The two inner bearings have got stuck, and that's what's happened. But then they've attempted with a cutting disc and with, you can see the burn under it, with bottles to try and get that off. There is a dead simple trick. You can pull a hub off, you can break the outer part off quite simply, which leaves the two inner races stuck on, which are the problematic bit. And a little tip, if you take it to your welding bay, you put a run of MIG weld around the inner race, what it actually does is it pulls the race away from the stub and gives you a better chance then of getting your pullers behind it and getting it off. Yeah. But it would have seriously stopped that damage.
And now that's useless, and it's cost everybody down the line quite a bit of money and downtime, I dare say, on the actual vehicle. So this sort of thing is not acceptable, as you well appreciate. But we see quite an ever-increasing amount of this. What we're trying to do with these videos is not try and teach you totally your jobs and all this, that and the other, but just give you our ideas on some of the things you can do to overcome some of the problems that you can incorporate when you're fitting items. We do these training sessions for people on site as well, but you're going to have something to refer to now. I think, personally speaking, I will be requesting senior engineers to have their fitting staff, whether they're their own staff or their contracted staff coming in, to have a look at one or two of the videos that Ian is very, very professionally, I'm sure you agree, has done, to help them before they start to commence to take units apart or take them off or to repair your vehicles. That's just my suggestion to you. Thank you for my time. I'm going to pass you just over to Ian for a little bit more on the Black Museum, and then we'll we'll call it a wrap.
This is more on the steering boxes now. We're going back to the videos that we did about the correct removal and refitment of a pitman arm, and people might think to themselves, well, you know, that's dead simple. You're only taking a nut off and taking an arm off. But as you can appreciate, we're in a service exchange industry, so the old unit coming back to us in a fit state is as important as us as you being happy with the quality of the product that you've purchased off us. It's very, very difficult to us as an organisation to consistently supply quality remanufactured steering gear when the old units coming back to us come back in these types of condition. It doesn't look a lot of damage, that. But that's where that lock washer goes into place. That's been done purely and simply because either one, the tool used to back the lock washer off was too wide, it's been chiselled in and chipped the end of the sector shaft, or two, the lock washer was never taken off at all, and they've used a power gun, which is now quite prevalent in the industry, battery guns, massively high torque, to just literally take that nut off. And all it's done is it's chipped the locking part of the shaft away. That shaft now is scrap. I can't reuse that shaft. If it's not happening once a week, it's happening probably every day. So we're losing consistently steering boxes and core. Another example there, it's the same, different size of steering box, but quite simply you can see unusable, nowhere to lock the nut back in. We certainly as an organisation aren't in the practice of welding anything to do with the steering component at all. That steering component is scrap and needs to go in the scrap bin. Besides the lock nuts, we then have we showed you the example of removing the pitman arm on the floor, nut still on to protect the thread. I mean, we can go beyond protecting threads, but you can see that one there quite clearly. They've tried to knock the shaft out of the arm rather than knocking the arm off the shaft. Again, massive no-no, and I'm sure anybody will understand it. That is never going to be used in anything ever again, and it's just going into the scrap bin. But all these things cost money, and not only do they cost money in the current climate that we're in, it's getting more and more difficult to actually source parts to replace these damaged components. And our fear is that obviously moving forward, there just won't be enough components out there to keep the industry happy.
Well, thank you, Ian. That's you're quite right. I mean, I've seen sector shafts between the two of those in sizes being hit with hammers that, quite frankly, you'd probably put rivets into large ships. It's just not acceptable. You know.
But follow our guide video of how to get the arm off, and you'll never, ever, ever have to hit the end of a shaft ever again.
We look forward to meeting all of you, if possible, you know, wherever we are and wherever we go. We're at the Coach and Bus Show this year again. I hope to see some people down there. And thank you very much indeed for listening to the series of videos. I do appreciate it. So from Ian and myself, Roy, we thank you.